Heart disease is the #1 killer in the world today. And the heart is a muscle. You can strengthen the heart and you can weaken the heart. What the heart pumps is blood. And so the viscosity of the blood, the contents of the blood makes a difference, but also the blood vessels.
Dr. Barbara O'Neill is a world-renowned health expert and a strong advocate for holistic and natural health, with countless testimonies to support her claims. Today, she will be exposing to us 5 foods that are harmful to your heart. Keep watching until the end of this video to avoid missing all the juicy details. Carbohydrate.
Your liver makes cholesterol, and the cholesterol that your liver makes, 80% is made from glucose and 20% is made from fat. So yes, just even this piece of information alone tells you it's not the butter on the bread, it's the bread under the butter that's the problem. The wrong guy's been shot.
It may surprise you that cholesterol, which is said to cause heart disease, is made up majorly of carbohydrates. Many people only consider fatty foods as the main cause of increased blood cholesterol levels. But Dr. Barbara teaches that this is not entirely true.
In fact, fat's been shot because of who it hangs around with. It's not the olive oil on the pasta, it's the pasta under the olive oil.
Aside from an increase in cholesterol level, a high carbohydrate diet can also lead to blockade of our arteries, as explained by Dr. Barbara.
When someone's on a very high carbohydrate diet, high sugar diet, there's got excess glucose floating through the blood, and it connects with these little protein molecules and becomes sticky, and it sticks. They stick to the walls of the arteries, and what they can do is they can get dislodged, and there's the blockage. That's the #1 cause of a stroke if it's in the carotid arteries. It's the #1 cause of a heart attack happening in the heart muscle.
So if you are on a high carbohydrate diet, it's probably time to consider cutting down on your carbohydrate intake. Table salt.
Let me give you the salt story. Seawater contains 92 minerals. Of those 92 minerals, 30% is made up of sodium and 50% is made up of chloride. And because sodium chloride make up the most amount of minerals, they're the first crystals formed when water is evaporated from seawater. So man scoops that up, bleaches it white, puts aluminium with it so it runs freely. There's your table salt. And the doctor's right, table salt can contribute to high blood pressure.
Dr. Barbara stressed that the popular table salt we use in cooking our meals can lead to high blood pressure. Table salt, which is gotten from the sea, contains 2 minerals, which are sodium and chloride. Excess use of the table salt causes an increase in sodium levels in our blood and cells, and this can eventually lead to high blood pressure. Many people today use table salt in excess without being aware of the dangers of the table salt.
Table salt is such harsh minerals, you inject that straight into the blood, you would kill a person. So let's say we've got someone having table salt on everything. So what's happening with sodium levels in their body? They're rising. And they're not eating any fresh fruit and vegetables because it takes too long, and they're so busy they just grab the quick mushy food that hardly needs 3 bites and it's down. So what's happening to potassium levels? Potassium levels now are dropping. With the rise in sodium and the drop of potassium, sodium levels are rising in the blood. That causes the cell to swell. There's your high blood pressure. The doctor's right. This salt will contribute to high blood pressure.
High blood pressure from excessive use of table salt is a well-known cause of heart disease because increase in pressure of blood in the arteries means the heart will have to work harder to pump blood at this increased pressure. This can increase the risk of a heart attack. It is important to be mindful of the amount of salt we add to our meals so as to maintain a healthy heart. A friendly reminder, kindly like this video and subscribe to this channel to encourage us. Caffeine.
Caffeine disrupts the neurotransmitters in the brain. Caffeine causes an insulin response. Caffeine actually causes a crisis response. So when someone is in a crisis, their blood pressure rises to cope with the crisis. That's what caffeine does.
Caffeine is a common substance contained in many of the energy drinks and carbonated beverages we drink today. Caffeine is also an active ingredient in coffee. As Dr. Barbara teaches, caffeine can cause an increase in our blood pressure because it puts our body in a state of crisis response.
Caffeine thickens the blood, causes dehydration, as does tobacco. Remember, we looked at keeping the heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So not only heart health, but also arterial health.
Many experts have noted that people prone to atrial fibrillation or fast heart rates may see an increase in their heart rate with consumption of coffee. Dr. Barbara also noted that coffee can increase the thickness or viscosity of the blood, and this can lead to increased workload on the heart, thereby leading to heart disease in the long term. To cut down on the amount of caffeine in our body, we can begin with reducing the number of cups of coffee we take every day. This will help us to maintain a healthy and disease-free heart. Stress.
Stress. Does stress cause high blood pressure? It's a contributing factor. So it's very important to assess your stress levels because life should be good. Isn't that true? So if there's any area of your life that's causing you stress, it's important to look at it and it's important to see where you can make some changes. There are some things we can change, there are some things we can't. And if we can't change it, we've really just got to say, well, my daughter gave me this saying recently, it is what it is, Mum. It is what it is. It's almost an acceptance. I don't like it, I don't agree with it, but I just need to accept that that's the way it is.
Stress and emotions are a proven cause of heart disease. As Dr. Barbara teaches, there are several known pathways through which stress can lead to heart disease. Experts have noted that long-term stress can cause higher levels of inflammation in our body. This can contribute to increases in plaque buildup in our arteries, which can then lead to narrowing and/or blocking of the arteries as seen in coronary artery disease.
And I think most people realise that stress plays a big part in heart disease, in high blood pressure. So when the Bible says, let not your heart be troubled, it's a choice. We can choose to worry or we can choose to let it go. There's another old saying that says, worry is blind and cannot discern the future. So it is a choice. And when you love the moment, past pain fades and future worries don't seem as bad. So relax. Do you know one of the best ways to relax is breathe deeply. Breathe very, very deeply.
Many people today worry a lot about the challenges they face. Overthinking and fear of the unknown can put us in a state of too much worrying. While worrying is normal, it is important to be mindful of how much worrying we allow ourselves. It is important to assess the areas of our life that cause us to worry most and try to solve the issues within our abilities, while those beyond our abilities we should try and let go. Tobacco.
Also, tobacco. Tobacco also causes a crisis in the body. Tobacco also damages the arterial walls.
Tobacco is an active substance contained in many cigarettes. Tobacco has been found to contain over 7,000 chemicals, with many of these chemicals being harmful to the wall of our arteries. Smoking tobacco speeds up the clogging and narrowing of coronary arteries. These coronary arteries carry blood to the heart muscle.
Caffeine thickens the blood, causes dehydration, as does tobacco.
Dr. Barbara teaches that tobacco puts the body in a state of crisis response, which can cause rapid increase in blood pressure. Tobacco has also been found to cause cancer and other dreadful diseases. To maintain a healthy heart, it is important to stay away from tobacco, as this substance can be very harmful to our heart. A life-changing testimony from Dr. Barbara.
I'll give you the story of Henry to show you what he did. He was a retired judge. He was, I think, 69, and he was on 6 medication. He was on medication for high blood pressure, for blood thinning, for blood cholesterol, for blood sugar, for gout, and for stomach ulcers. So he's on 6 medications. I said, are you interested in stopping your medication? He said, no, I'm very happy with my medication. Thank you very much. But we gave him hawthorn berry tea a day. We gave him a litre to drink through the day. It's not an unpleasant tea. We also gave him a little cayenne pepper. He was happy for us to try a few things. He took the herbs with him when he went home. He rang me 4 months later. He said, "Barbara, I'd like to visit you and get a few more hawthorn berries." I said, "Come for lunch, Henry." Now, when I opened the door, I did not recognise Henry. He had lost 20 kilos in 4 months. What's that, 40 pound? He said, I can do my coat up now. All the puffiness had gone out of his face. He said, "I've got a few stories for you." He said, "I went to the doctor recently to have my blood pressure taken, and the doctor stood up and left the room." He said, "Where are you going?" He said, "The machine's broken." Henry said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Well, your blood pressure is 160 on 95. Did you hear that? That's on medication." He said, "This machine says your blood pressure is 120 on 80. It must be broken." Henry said, "That's my blood pressure now." The doctor took him off all his medication because his blood thinning's normal, his blood cholesterol's normal, his blood sugars are normal, his blood pressure's normal. He has no more gout, and he does not have stomach ulcers anymore.
Will you follow Dr. Barbara's teachings? Kindly let us know your thoughts in the comments below.